So let's go ahead. Welcome everybody. Uh, to start off with, does anybody have any favorite story they wanted to share about Howard and Della? Maybe we should start with Maxine since you're the oldest. Did you want to start, Maxine?
He wants you to tell a story about mom and dad. Max.
Julie's telling me that you guys can hear me. Be quiet, she says.
Maybe the rest of us should mute.
No.
Well, each other is talking. Oh, Ron's calling me. I'm going to mute myself and talk to him.
Okay. Well, go ahead and, yeah, we can hear you, Maxine. So go ahead and tell us if you'd like to start us off with telling a story about Howard and Della. Just one of your favorite stories you'd like to share about your mom and dad.
You remember having to sing Blue Eyes?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Beautiful, beautiful blue eyes.
it looks like Maxine is actually muted right now. So if she's talking, we actually can't hear her. I see the light icon by her. Okay, you're unmuted now. Okay, go ahead and talk, Maxine.
She can't hear you.
Oh,
Okay.
She doesn't know what you're asking. Go ahead and ask, and I'll ask her.
Yeah, if you could just relay to her, just ask her to start sharing a story about Grandma and Grandpa, about Howard and Della.
Okay, here's.
Well, why don't you go on to someone else first? Because
Okay.
Kyle's going to try and fix the audio, and then
All
she'll
right,
be
then.
able to do a better job.
We'll move on to Linda. You look like you wanted to share something then.
Okay. Let me.
who, me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, David started to say, if I remembered or if we remembered, beautiful, beautiful blue eyes. That's because we used to sing in the car, beautiful, beautiful brown eyes. We'll never love blue eyes again. And he'd get so upset because he's the only blue-eyed one. And mom and dad used to take us on these long, long rides in the car after church, I think it was. And we'd always buy a loaf of bread and thing of bologna and mustard or something. And then we'd make sandwiches in the car and go driving all over. And that's one thing I remember. All of us kids sitting in the back seat, mom and dad up there. And I do remember mom saying, "Oh, kids, dad's got an elephant. He's got an elephant. I can feel his trunk." I'm sorry. I was so embarrassed. Everyone else just laughed and laughed and thought that was hilarious. But I was the one that was embarrassed. Anyway, mom and dad were great together. I have other stories like that, but I won't tell them. Although I don't know why not. Mom used to, when she had Susan was a baby and she was nursing Susan, and we were watching TV and a pet milk commercial came on, and Mama would say, "Oh, my milk's been petted too." And I just died 1,000 deaths. She used to embarrass me all the time. But Dad and her made some pretty good jokes too, but I'm not going to tell those. I don't think I should.
I only remember the dirty jokes.
Oh, that's the only jokes I remember because I was embarrassed. Anyway, I don't remember mom and dad ever really fighting, arguing or really fighting ever. I always thought every family was like that.
No, well, I remember dad would try to put her her Susie would that was the only time I remember him fighting.
Oh,
Oh, because he was, I don't know, she was, she was mad at Dad, and Dad had to put this medicine in Susie's eyes.
Oh,
I think it was. But that's the only time I saw him angry with Mom.
yeah, I could see that. I don't remember them. I knew when they were mad at each other, but we never heard them argue or anything. I think Mom said they'd always go to the car and take a ride or, go somewhere else. Never argued or fought in front of us, but we knew they were mad when they were mad at each other. And we sure knew if they were mad at us. Everyone knows all the stories I have, I think.
Well,
Who was it that I seem to recall a story
once we
about
turn
the only time you ever heard Grandpa swear?
Oh, me.
Of course it was
Is it
you.
really good now, Mom?
That's because I had my old clunker car parked on the curb,
She's still
and I
muted.
backed up. I backed up and ran right into Dad's brand new black Ranchero. Remember, David? And I went upstairs and I was so upset. And I said, "Oh, Dad, I just ran into your new truck."
Yeah, with the
into
white
the-
walls.
And he said, "Oh, damn." He was shaven. And I burst into tears because I'd never heard my father swear before, ever. And I just started crying, and he ended up feeling so bad and telling me it's
Yeah.
okay. And he felt really bad for me. So that was good. Yeah, he was consoling me. Thank goodness.
I remember that. I remember that moment. I really do. And he his white walls, isn't it? Well, didn't he have white walls that he was worried about?
I don't know about the white walls. What do you
Yeah.
remember about Mom and Dad?
What do I remember about them?
Yeah, a story.
Oh my, uh, I haven't too many stories inside. They're tucked away pretty tight. Most stories are tucked away really tight. I remember so much Mama in the bathtub. And
How about your
and-
stories after church when you'd go for drives as a family?
what?
After church, you would go for long drives.
Yeah, I already.
Oh, about when we used to take long drives. We used to take long drives together. Yes, we weren't exactly a rich family, so a drive for us was kind of exciting. All of us in there,
You'd have a picnic and you'd stop somewhere.
and then we when the kids all got hungry, just grabbed. Oh, Mama got a loaf of bread
Mhm.
and put things on it. But we did a lot of singing. Oh, we sang. We must have been pretty good.
You were awful.
No, I tell everybody that I'm such a good singer because it hasn't come out yet. It's still tucked away inside. But I miss, yes, On the damn road, remember?
Mhm.
Riding on the damn road.
You
Oh,
used to like to say that because
yes,
you were saying the damn road.
that's right.
We could
When we could swear.
Were you traveling to a dam? Is that what the joke was?
When what?
Were you going to a dam? And so
No, that was the name of the road because it was went along
Yeah.
a reservoir where there was a dam that so the name of the road
Yes.
was the dam road.
Yes.
It's still the damn road. And they still have a dam.
We wanted to ride on the damn road so we could swear. That
Uh-huh.
was our big thing. And all sitting, oh my, I have a wonderful memory of Daddy's birthday when he got his horse, remember?
65th. Yeah.
We all brought that horse to Daddy, and we took him, made the horse blind, or no,
you
horse
blindfolded
wasn't blind.
you blindfolded
Somebody,
Grandpa.
We
Huh?
got together,
And
we all bought it and then put it in the orchard and
yes, yes, and then Dad comes in blindfolded and put his hands up. Oh my gosh, who is that? Who would have that much hair? Oh, it was Dad, and he was so happy. I remember he wouldn't go to bed. Mama was so mad at him because he wouldn't go to bed that night. He
Stay with
wanted to
his
stay
horse.
up with the horse.
He
Oh.
jumped on it bareback.
Huh?
He jumped on that horse bareback.
He did,
had his bathing
and
suit
took
on.
off through the orchard.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. He was. I remember that too. Gee, guys, I'm not full of stories like I usually am.
You guys remember, we made Dad eat watermelon sandwiches.
That was
Made
not
him a what?
that was not in my era.
Oh,
Made him what?
watermelon sandwiches.
Some kind of sandwiches?
Watermelon.
Oh,
Yeah.
watermelon sandwiches.
I think that's
Daddy.
when Candi and Lester were.
Oh,
Not me.
okay. Well, that would make sense, I guess.
You remember when we got Mrs. Brown that used to come in, take, this Mrs. Brown would take care of us. And I remember her calling, or I remember the story. She called our house and wanted to talk to Onita. And David was 7 or 8 or something, I don't know. And David answered the phone and said, "No, we don't have a Mrs. Oh, we don't have an
Onita
here. Yeah, we don't have an Onita here."
No.
And he says, "Well, her name is Onita Brown." He said, "Well, we have a Mrs. Brown here."
Yeah.
Well, didn't know her name until David did that. And then we knew it was Onita.
Our battery's low. It says,
We
oh dear.
loved her. But especially because she babied David so bad.
Oh, yes. Yes.
She was her pet.
Candi,
talk.
Okay, so
We just lost Maxine.
Uh-oh. Maxine, where'd you go?
She's not in the meeting.
so I'm on the phone with Ron and Diane trying to help them get on the meeting. That's why I haven't been participating.
Oh,
I'm muted right now. They might get on here in a second. Maxine had just said that it said battery low on her computer, so.
Let's see if it joins now.
Okay, I think Ron might be getting on.
you don't have to stay down.
Caleb,
The meeting passcode.
There,
You
should have
want,
been-
okay, it says they need a meeting passcode.
Meeting passcode.
You need one.
Caleb, do you have the meeting passcode?
It should have been in the link here.
Okay,
There, it's in
here it
the
is.
chat.
Okay. The passcode is, you ready for this?
Yeah.
6, lowercase w, uppercase N, November,
Okay.
4, the number 4, lowercase I, 6.
6.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let's see.
And then we're gonna need to call Julie and ask what happened to Maxine.
Admin is connecting. That might be you.
I think that's us.
Why are you admin?
We made it.
Okay,
Well, here's that.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not, we don't have audio or picture on you, so,
Really?
yeah.
Big
Okay.
airport.
Okay.
Oh,
Uh,
I
how do
can-
we get, let's see.
Okay, we got your audio, now the picture. There should be a, it says video with a line through it.
Howard and Della Child today.
And we're getting Julie connected again.
Okay, I see Caleb.
Okay.
Yes, but we don't have your
Yep, there you
picture.
go.
And we don't see Ron. We don't have any video for you.
Probably lower left-hand part of the screen.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Little
there we
Okay,
are.
there you go.
There you
Ron.
Hi,
Yeah.
Diane.
Hi, Diane.
Yeah. She just got me on.
Oh, there you
Not
are.
me. There's Ron.
Hey.
There
Caleb,
you
who
go.
would have ever guessed that I would be tech support?
All right.
Andy.
So
Yeah.
See me. They can see you, but not very, it's not as good now.
Can you see me? I'm here too.
I can see you, Maxine.
You're
You look
little.
really tiny now.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The more people you get on, the smaller
No,
The-
it's
people
Yeah.
are.
No, we had to switch to my phone because the computer ran out of battery. I'll see if I can get it going, but in the
Oh.
meantime,
Okay.
Let me see the volume on this.
see you
So,
down there.
all right. So, Ron, do you have a
Yeah.
favorite story about Grandma and Grandpa, about Howard and Della that you wanted to share?
Oh, I got lots of them, but I won't take all night to do that. Basically, for Dad, my biggest memories are riding with him on the truck all the time. I think I went all over California with him, and I'm pretty sure it took me years to figure this out, but I'm sure Mom and Dad had a discussion, and the discussion was, when Ron is out of school, you get him.
Oh, I never thought of
I'm
that.
pretty sure
Andy.
that's,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened, because every time school was out, I was on the truck.
And it's okay to
We-
leave him someplace. Do you think that was part of it?
Well, no, I don't think he was trying to leave me. He just had to put up with me. And that's where I learned how to drive truck. I was going with him, and he'd let me steer. And then after a while, he started letting me shift a little bit. That's when you had the 2 gear shifts. And eventually, when I was 14, we were driving out in Napa along the country road at night. And then he pulled over and said, "Okay, you take over." I took over, ground gears, and bucked it along with the truck. And after about 15, 20 minutes, I pulled over and he took over again. And it was just like this huge weight came off of me. That was the first time I drove truck. But we had a lot of fun. I remember when we had these old whites that weren't very strong, and we had heavy loads. So we were really slow going up hills. But when we went down hills, he'd just kick it out of gear, and we'd just go at it. And Dad would start yodeling. And he'd just go at it, and he just loved it. And so we had a good time on that. Uh, yeah, with Dad, most of my experiences were there, other than when we had family and stuff. What's that?
How does your pacemaker do?
Well, how's my pacemaker doing?
Yeah.
You have
Well, I think
pacemaker.
it's doing okay. I'm still recovering from the incision. It's still pretty puffed up.
I didn't know you had a pacemaker put in.
Yeah, I just had it done last Friday. No,
Oh,
Thursday.
I have
Huh?
a,
Brother had a.
Tuesday. We had it done Tuesday.
wow, I had a loop recorder.
No,
There.
mine's a
Oh, that's awful.
pacemaker, and I guess it's working. It's just too sore right now still. My chest, it's all puffed up and
Oh,
bloated.
they did a pacemaker on you?
Yeah, I've got a pacemaker now on me.
Oh,
Wow.
how's that way?
Well, my heart was just going too slow. It would slow most of the time down to 42, but sometimes it dropped down to 38 beats per minute.
Yours did in the hospital. Yeah, mine did that in the hospital.
Yeah.
Isn't that when you should start running your marathons, triathlons again? Get your heart rate back up?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't work out that way.
Oh,
I mean, I can get my heart rate up, but I just started feeling my age, and that was the bad thing.
Yeah.
So now, hopefully, once I can, it's going to take several weeks before I can use my left arm and raise it and do things with it. That's about 4 weeks to swim, or 5 weeks, and for the incision and everything to heal up
I didn't know there.
before I can start doing things.
Wow.
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't know that.
I'm glad
Sorry
you got
about that.
one. If you need one.
Yeah, well, I fought it because I was told it'd take 6 months before I could swim. But then the doctor said, no, about 4 or 5 weeks. Just need to get the incisions healed up enough so that you can get in the water and stay in the water. So I got to hold off from playing golf, swimming, or biking. So all I'm doing right now is just walking.
Oh, well, we're glad you look better. You look fine, though. You look good.
Yeah, well, I'm doing better.
You have a good nurse there, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's got whiskers.
Huh?
Have you got
Whiskers? No. Oh, I see. That looks like I got whiskers, but no, I had to shave them off just the other day. Diane made me do that. So I don't have whiskers.
The only one with whiskers right now is
David.
David.
Well, I think Les does
Les
too.
probably
Oh.
does.
I got his
Huh? No, well, that's just the light that's shining on me that way. It's reflecting off my pretty face. Hello. See, David's got a beard.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where mine would be right now if there you go. Oh, we're gonna put some light, shed some light on me. Hello. There you go. Now do I look like I have whiskers?
No.
yeah, but
Mhm.
more.
No, it doesn't.
No, I don't have any whiskers.
Oh, I don't. Now I see. Look,
Okay,
Clean shaven.
that's right.
Right.
Anyway, I
Tell
was
us a
talking
story.
about Dad, and I remember when we had his 65th birthday.
Well, we already talked about that.
Oh, did you?
We
Okay.
went over all the fun stories while you were trying to log on.
Yeah, well, sorry about that.
Well, maybe
Anyway, that was-
Ron has his own insight on it.
You
That
could
was-
talk
that
about a
was my idea
75th.
to buy that horse.
You could talk
Right.
about the 75th birthday.
Oh, is that the 75th? No, he wasn't 75 then. He died at 79. So it was about
75
64.
is another story, another one. We had a band and we had, who was there? Anybody?
Everybody was there at their Blackwood Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what?
We
I
had the
was
horse
there.
out in the orchard there on the side.
Oh, yeah,
Remember that? And we put
When
a
Dad-
ribbon.
horse.
Yeah, Molly.
And he loved Molly.
It was
Yes, he
65th.
did.
They keep going back and forth.
I know these stories are bouncing around an awful lot, guys.
Yeah.
Well, Candy, I think you're the only one that hasn't shared a story yet.
What, me?
No, Candy.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Oh, I was trying to think of fun stories, and it's interesting because there couldn't think of a lot of fun stories that involved just mom and dad. Usually it involved the
Yeah.
whole family. I often talk about my favorite Christmas memory was on a Christmas Eve when we all got together, and it was the last Christmas Eve where we all exchanged gifts, where everybody bought gifts for everybody else. And I have a picture somewhere of the living room at mom and dad's house where the gifts covered the entire floor of that living room. I mean, it came out almost to the couch because there were so many people exchanging so many gifts. And after that, we drew names. But I
Yeah.
just love to look at that picture. That just, to me, that was Christmas with our family. It was so much fun. I always loved holidays at the house.
Yeah.
And I think one fun story that I remember that just involved me and mom. This is so I remember I was eating sunflower seeds. And I took one and I told mom, I'm going to go plant this. I want to grow sunflower seeds. Of course, these were roasted, salted sunflower seeds, right? But I took this and I planted it in the backyard. And the next day I went out and there was this tall, fully grown sunflower where I'd planted it. Do you know, I was probably well into my 20s before I realized what mom had done. I thought sunflowers were the fastest growing flowers in the world. It was amazing.
That's funny. I never heard that story.
Yeah. I mean, truly, I was an adult before it really clicked that she had done that.
I keep getting flowers for May Day, and I just think that's wonderful of these
Mayday Fairy.
May Day fairy out that I keep getting. Fairy.
Well, Mayday fairies know that you love their flowers, I guess.
Poor Candi finally admitted that she's been doing it.
Maxine, I don't know. Have you been to the doctor lately to, check out what's going on? I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
I thought that's so sweet. Oh, I do get I yesterday I almost got a whole bunch of flowers. We were in Trader Joe's when somebody let loose.
Mom, this is supposed to be stories
That's
from
okay. It's
and a bottle of oil came just inches from splattering all over my head. And as it turns out, they had just wiped me down because I was full of stuff. So they gave me these flowers.
Yes, but you're supposed to be talking about Grandma.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
That's okay.
Sure,
That's
take us
all right.
off center.
Any family story is fair game.
I was just thinking, Maxine, who was it who patted you down? Was it fun?
Patted down I've had for a while.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Caleb, something else you had mentioned in, requesting us to come up with stories. You talked about Susie. And there's Les.
Where?
Because this story involves him.
not there. He's coming on. Oh, I'm sorry.
He's coming in. We don't have a visual yet. I mean, I don't have many memories of Susie because obviously I was 4 when she died, but the only memory I have of her was her and I, and this was on Rumford Drive, running down the hall and laughing with Lester chasing us, and we would run into one of her bedroom, I'm guessing, and hold the door shut, and Lester would be on the outside pounding on it, trying to get in at us. That is my only memory I have of Susie.
That's funny.
Mine isn't much more, really, because I remember being in the hospital and having to. She thought I was going to come in with a baby, and baby had passed away just days before. And so I brought in, well, bring it in, but I brought it in a story that I wrote to her about a kitten that I got for my kitties. So because I feel like I just missed it. My baby in heaven, but
There's Liz.
and just before Candi, Jane.
No.
No,
Susan.
Susan. Oh yeah, sorry, Candi. I'm bad
That's
that way.
okay.
But
That's okay.
I can tell you a couple of things about Susan that I remember. I remember growing up, us older kids really got upset because Candi was so spoiled, and we were all just, why is she getting this special treatment, even though we knew she
Here it
was very
comes.
sick. But
yeah,
but I do remember my last time with her. What do you want? Hi, Les.
I laugh.
You can hear us, right, Les?
The last time I saw Susan, I went and visited her at the hospital after she had had her brain tumor, whatever it was that she had, and the disease had spread up through her back spine into her brain, and that's when she got critical. And she went into Oakland Children's Hospital, and I went up there to meet with her and visit with her, and had a nice visit with her, and she was all kind of swollen up at that point. But she walked with me. She was in a robe and her slippers. She walked with me out to the elevator. And just before I left her, she reached up, put her arms around me and said, "I love you, Ron." And that's always been my final remembrance of her. It was a very touching and very special moment for me in my life with Candi, or Susan rather. And I remember Mike McFarland and I sang a duet at her funeral. It was pretty bad, but we did that. So that was Candi. As far as Susan, rather, excuse me, I'm sorry. With Mom, let me tell you a couple of stories I can tell you about her. She was quite the gal. I remember when she was working night shift at what was it, American
Radiator.
Yeah. Anyway, she would work at night, and in the morning she'd come in to our place at Stockton Street, and
4601 Stockton.
yeah, it's 2601.
4601.
I don't know why I can't forget that one. But we had three ladies that used to come with her. One had black hair, one had red, and one had blonde. So we had Red Marge, Blonde Marge, and Black Marge. And they would come in and sit around the kitchen table with Mom and have coffee in the morning and smoke and just carry on after work. And I remember her sitting around with them. Then I remember as we lived on Doremus, one day Mike and I were washing one of my cars. Now Mom was up above, and all of a sudden we got this splash on us. Mom had dumped a bucket of water on us from up above on the patio there. And thus ensued a water fight that we had a great time with. But Mom was a character, and she was a lot of fun. You know, you think about her in her older age, and she really lost a lot of that, but she was a lot of fun growing up.
Oh, yes. Mama was a lot of fun even when she wasn't grown up. And inside of her, she was fun. You talking about those, I always thought of the three witches when I think of those Marges. um, I was visiting them, and the kitty came walking in, and somebody sat down on a chair that slid, cut the cat's head off.
No.
And nobody knew what to do, so we called Ron, because only one Ron.
Yeah.
And we kept thinking, oh, Ron, oh, he's so tender. He's gonna feel so bad about it. Maybe if it was Daddy and not Ron.
Yeah, it would have been Dad, I think.
I think so.
No, it was Daddy. I guess it was Daddy had to come and get the poor thing. And he says, oh, and here I thought cats had more than 9 lives. And we all were just over crying. That doesn't make any sense, does it? That's I remember that.
I imagine it was pretty traumatic. Ron, I kind of want to revisit this story about Mom pouring the water on you guys, because as I remember that, or maybe it was a different instance. I remember she would tell that story and saying, you guys looked up at her with that hose and she said, don't you dare, don't you dare. And then you turned the hose on her.
That sounds just like
Now that you mention it, I guess that did happen that way.
Yes,
And I think
yeah.
I've
I
told
just
that
remember we had a
story.
great water fight.
Yeah. I've told that story many times to my kids, and that kind of becomes our mantra when we're about to get into something, you know, the don't you dare, don't you dare. They love that story about Grandma,
Yeah.
Mom.
Hey, Les, what do you remember about Mom and Dad?
Yeah,
Not much. My memory is pretty spotty about a lot of things. I couldn't tell you what I had for lunch yesterday. I do remember once when Mom was when we had the missionaries living in the cottage, and they had one of the sets of missionaries had their car specially done up so that when they hit the windshield washer, it would turn to the left and squirt the person standing there, and they squirted Mom with their windshield wipers. And I don't know, she picked something up and was going to throw it at them, and her arm went sideways and she threw it and broke one of the windows in my room instead. She wasn't a very good shot, was Mom, but hopefully she was a better shot when she was shooting water at people. I don't know.
Lester, do you remember? I know you remember when you called the radio station.
Huh?
Called the
I
radio
remember the
station.
story. You called the radio station because whoever it was for a prize or something. You called and they wanted to know if anyone or if who had named a snake or something. I don't know what it was.
I remember that. It was a snake. They found a snake and wanted to name it.
Right. All right,
Asked
and
for
then
names.
you called and said yes, and then
Said my
Mom's-
mom has a name.
yeah.
No idea.
Oh, jeez.
I
Okay, well,
won.
anyway, they said they needed a name, and so you hand the phone to Mom, and she screamed. Is that right?
Yes, she
Yeah, she
screamed
just-
into the phone.
That was the name. That was what she. Oh, never mind. That was a bad story.
No, it was a great story. I'd forgotten that.
Well, I
don't
didn't-
remember that, Les, huh?
I don't know.
I'm at
Lester
loss.
remembered it because I was listening to the radio. That's the story I forgot because I was listening to that same station and heard it, and I didn't realize it was you and Mom. That's what it was.
That's fine. That makes it even
I
better.
did.
I know. There was some reason I knew it.
I did call a radio station in later years that they were having a contest where you're the certain number of caller and you win $92.3, which is, you know, that was their call numbers, called 92.3. So I called in and won it, and I was had to drive down to San Jose to pick up a check, and they said, and this is Les Child. Really, is that a real name? They said that on the air. Thanks a lot, guys.
I had a similar story about the name thing. When I went and stopped and donated, they were doing some sort of fundraiser at the radio station downtown. And I think it was Susan. Susan and I were out together.
Yeah.
And we stopped by and gave him a donation. And I gave him the money. He said, "Oh, announce your name. What's your name?" And I said, "Candi." "Candi what?" "Candi Child." And the guy stopped and he goes, "Are you for real?" And I said, "Yeah, that's my name." Anyways, then he gets on announcing, "This is from Candi Child." And that's really her name, folks.
Oh, that's funny. I never thought of it. It's kind of a funny name.
It is a
Cute
funny name.
That's a good name.
Caused lots of problems when I was in school. I'll just say that. So it's, talking about stories about mom and dad, Les, and you may
Happy.
remember, even know this. I have a bunch of memorabilia, including, I think I've told you, I have all your old report cards for some reason, as
Oops.
well as a lot of documents. And so when Les and I were in elementary school, Mom kept wanting Les to get put in an advanced placement program because he was so bored in his classes. He was so smart. They couldn't keep his mind stimulated. And so it's interesting because apparently, Mom had gone in front of the school board. She'd gone really to battle with this. And I have at least one letter that she had written to the superintendent of schools trying to make this happen. They just did not have a good advanced placement program back then. It wasn't really a thing yet. But I think that's an interesting story that I don't know that you can appreciate until this time of life, and you look back at this documentation. I just remember that Mom hated our principal, Mr. Max. And I never knew why, but I knew I got sent to the principal's office just one time when I was in elementary school. And when Mr. Max saw it was me, he goes, "Oh, I'm sure it was nothing. Here, Candi, I'll just take you back to class." He wanted nothing to do with us because Mom was out to get him fired. She was so mad because of this, because he wouldn't do anything to, get less, in some sort of advanced placement or advance him a year or anything like that. So,
Well, my mind getting stimulated, that was years before online porn.
why did I know you were going there, Les?
You should have. You should have known.
Yeah.
Mom used to go with traffic court quite a few times, actually.
Yeah.
What was it?
Was that with you or with me?
Yeah, well, I'd drive down Cutting. It was 4-lane through residential there, and I'd always get caught at 35 miles an hour. And I don't know, I think it was the 7th time when they finally pulled my license. But Mom was a great mouthpiece because she would talk and she would get me bailed out just by coming in and talking and supporting me. So I just remember quite a few times going into traffic court with her.
Yeah, well, I want to tell you something. I was once pulled over. I pulled myself over. I had a flat tire, and Myrna was with me, and here it was. It was all dark and everything. We were downtown, and the policeman came up next to me and said something going on, and I said, "Yes, I have a flat tire. We would like someone to call my parents or something." And he said, "Aren't you Ron Child's sister?"
Uh-oh.
And I said, yeah. And he just got in his car and left. That was the truth. So that's what I know about it.
I did a lot of cruising back then.
Yeah, right. You did a lot of something, because I tell you, the cops wouldn't even help me.
I just remember Mom always talking about Ron.
The terror.
But she went in for parent-teacher conference. And I don't know what grade you were in, but it was elementary school. Going in, she went in and introduced herself, and the teacher said, "You're Ron's mother." I said, "Let me tell you about Ron." And then the one story I remember from it was that every day Ron would come in the classroom, slam the door open, and go, "I'm here, you lucky people." Every morning. That was how Ron entered the room.
I got an F in that class. That was algebra.
I want
I-
Maxine to tell about her experience with the Don Sherwood show.
Oh, yeah.
Maxine?
Sure would.
When I went in with the parent teacher things,
Oh,
that teacher would take a look and say, "Oh, you're Mrs. Child." I'm wondering what you would be like. And
Mom,
what?
she was asking about the Dawn Sherwood.
Oh, the Don Sherwood show.
Yeah,
Well,
the green hair.
I thought that was Jack Parr.
yeah, everybody knows who I am.
Now, do you remember going on?
Know
his-
who I all of the hospitals around.
No, you had green hair.
Yeah. Champagne green.
It was beautiful green is what it was.
Oh,
But the problem is they had all these different colors of hair, but they didn't have any color cameras. And I've had a picture in with my green hair.
Because all the pictures were black and white.
Yep, they were all
Hmm.
forget it.
What happened when you went on Don Sherwood show?
Oh, there I got a flower. I seem to get a lot of flowers anymore. But that was
You earned it.
yes.
The only Don Sherwood I remember is Don Sherwood's Golf and Tennis World. Is that the same one?
Same one.
Okay.
Same one. And Maxine, you got you were on television and of course no one knew what color your hair was in the audience except where we were at. And he said, tell everyone what color your hair is. And you turned beet red. Your face did, and then you said green. Anyway, great. And I sat real close to you so I get on TV too. And you
That
got
was-
it orchid. And then you got kicked out of school.
Yes.
For what?
I wish I had a picture of that.
You got kicked out of school for having green hair?
yeah. Well, that was way
You're
back
different.
when, you got to remember.
I know, it's pretty funny. I remember another story that Mom told me one time, kind of out of the blue. I'm not really sure why. There was something about when she had made a pumpkin pie, and it was when it was just you four at home. She had made this pumpkin pie and cut everybody an equal size slice, put it in front of you. And David looked over at Ron's and said, "Hey, he got a bigger piece than me." And Mom said, "Oh, do you want more?" And he said, "Yeah." And so Mom cut him, I think it was like a quarter of a pie and
Yeah.
put it in front of him. Oh, you guys are all nodding. Y'all remember this story.
Yeah.
But what was so fun about, and then of course the story went that didn't want to finish it because
Right.
it was too full. And she says, "Oh no, you finished that whole pie." And
Right.
I guess,
He
didn't
never
want to
asked
eat
for a
pumpkin
bigger
pie
piece.
anymore after that. But I remember her taking this piece of paper and folding it into the precise sizes of these slices. Anyway, I don't know why, but that sticks out as a memory for me.
Yep, we remember that. Do you remember the bean story?
Oh, yes.
I don't think you were born then.
I know
Ken.
the story. I know all your stories. Okay. I heard them all.
Yeah.
Tell us that story. I don't remember the bean thing.
Oh, you remember we were all eating these beans Mom had made. And
Oh. Yes.
and go ahead, Max. Finish
No,
it.
go on.
Go ahead.
Everybody was eating the beans and Daddy most of all, and he sat back and oh man, that was best beans and
And he wanted more.
and he got all he wanted, and then when he was finished, the beans disappeared, and Dad says, "Where did it all go?" Oh, we all had enough. Nobody wanted to tell Daddy that there was little things in our
White worms.
a worm.
Dragons.
No white worms we all ate.
But
I remember,
this,
Well, she didn't know it till after we were eating it, and then she
David's
didn't
trying
want
to
us.
contribute here.
yeah,
David's trying to talk.
But David, you remember?
I remember that Dad looked at this and said, "What is that slob?"
Oh, yeah.
It pushed the head right down in the whatever it was.
Was it Banana
It
Creek
was a
Pie or
riot.
something? It was pie, wasn't it?
No, it was
What's this slop you're putting in front of me? And
Yeah.
I'm sure. They had a good relationship. As far as we know, they didn't argue in front of us, so we don't know.
I remember one time talk about arguing. It wasn't really an argument. It was mom getting mad and dad running. But it was he had bought her a keyboard for Christmas one year. And he was so excited about it. And he told me about it. And I think he wanted me to wrap it or something like that. And mom on the side was saying, your dad keeps talking about the keyboard. He'd better not get me a keyboard. I do not want a keyboard. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know what to do about this. And then he presented it to her. He didn't give it to her on Christmas. He gave it to her before Christmas, I think. And he said, by next Christmas, I want you to be able to accompany us on our Christmas carols. And she went off on, I told you I didn't want a keyboard. And went on and on and on and packed the whole thing up and took it out to the car and took it back to the store. I remember that argument.
yeah.
Remember on April Fool's Day, how Mom would put corn or nuts in our pancakes?
Yeah.
Got the little silver beads, didn't she?
Yeah.
Put
Oh,
those
that's
in there?
right. It was those
Silver
little
candies.
hard beads. Yeah.
Or I know, remember notes in our sandwiches. Green.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Green sandwiches on St. Patrick's Day. Huh?
I remember the time when Dad was in the hospital with ulcers.
Reading this.
They wouldn't allow kids in the hospital back then. So Mom took us all on a picnic to visit Dad.
oh,
We had mayonnaise sandwiches for lunch. Didn't realize that we were poor then. And it wasn't until, I guess it was that day or that evening or the next day, got a knock on the door, and here's this man with 2 big bags of groceries. And who's this guy? I remember opening it up, and he comes in, and I just remember him sitting there and writing a check for our rent. I guess that was a bishop, and I guess we had a pretty good home teacher back then, or what were they called then? But yeah, I remember going on church welfare, and I remember Dad would, whenever there was a project to go on, like when they built the Richmond Chapel, that we were always there building the chapel. And I remember us building the cannery over in Emeryville. That was a good move, because that's what I think got us back into the church back then.
I think what was fun at the cannery was when Mom would go. I remember them calling us and all of us rushing down there. They had peaches in, and they had to have them all done because they were ripe or something. And we had to go and spend them all evening and all night there. And everyone wanted to be around Mama because she always told the best jokes, except a lot of them she couldn't finish after she. They all wanted to be around Mama. She was the life of the party at the
Always
cannery.
forgot the punchlines, right? She realized it was too dirty for the.
I'm the one that forgets the punchline. Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. You remember before we gave Daddy that Mama gave Dad that milkshake that all we had with
Oh,
we could only find a quarter.
Yeah.
And we had to decide what to do with that. Who's gonna, are we gonna get it, or is Daddy gonna get it? Well, there's no question. The quarter went to Daddy so he could think everybody was happy outside their milkshake.
Right.
Remember
tell you
when
what,
we drove truck with ice cream truck and something
Yeah.
broke down and he had showed up at the yard there or parking lot there on Stockton Street, and all the kids came and got a lot of ice cream free because it was going bad. Something went wrong with the freezer, I guess, on the truck. And so he gave away a lot of ice cream to all the kids in the neighborhood.
Oh. We were popular kids.
Yes, we were.
Oh, yes.
No, I couldn't imagine we ate that whole thing.
Yeah.
As much as we could.
remember one of my favorite things that Dad used to say. He had all of his little dadisms, right? Like, money isn't worth anything. You can't eat it. You can't wear it, blah, 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 right? But my favorite is always, there's no such word as can't. And that is a phrase, and I use that not all the time, but I frequently will use that with people that I'm working with, when they're just so down. I say, you know what, let me tell you something. And I tell them about my folks, and I've used them in the past as, people who came from nothing and ended up, making quite a life for themselves. And I said, and my dad's mantra was, there's no such word as can't. There is a way. When you want something, you may not get everything you want, but saying that you can't is self-defeating. Always loved that.
Linda, do you remember?
What?
I don't remember how many of the kids, or just you and I, was with Daddy, and we'd walk on the streets while Mama finished being a waitress at night.
Oh, I don't know if it was me or not.
Out our all of
We were streetwalkers.
Well, you guys started young.
Yeah.
we did. We picked out our well, we got some of them.
Christmas presents.
Oh dear, I remember that so well. I can't convey it very well.
You want to say it again?
My favorite. And then we ended up got his bike fixed, and Linda, I don't remember, but I got a car, the
Oh, Ron remembers that.
first car.
Oh,
The man,
Huh?
the man trap.
yeah.
The,
The old
oh,
Hudson, green Hudson. The man trap.
yes.
Yes.
Your car was called the Man Trap, Ron?
No, Maxine's first car.
Oh, Maxine's first car. Okay, I thought we were
Got
talking
a
about your
key.
car.
You got a
Had me worried
key
for a
for
sec.
Christmas. There
And
was-
Ron Hatton had to help fix it, put my name on it and everything, so he knew all about it.
Yep. I was really excited. I was just
Famous in Richmond. It was a very famous car in Richmond.
So why was it a man trap, or like no door handles on the passenger side? They couldn't get out unless you let them out. Did you ever let them out?
All the girls chipped in a quarter so we can buy gas.
They're probably still in there to this day.
It wasn't the story about when, Maxine, you got it at Christmas, you opened a box and it
Yeah.
had the key in it, and you got your eyes got wide, and Ron, you jumped up and said, "It's true, Max, it's outside," or something like that. It's a car,
Yeah,
it's
I
a car,
remember I
right?
was really excited about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
It was
story.
the ugliest car.
And then we all ran down in our pajamas downstairs outside, took a ride in the car.
I don't think we rode with you. Maybe. I remember Dad always telling, I remember Duke Candy, you remember you and I and Mama and Dad were at a restaurant and we were talking about, I don't know, we were talking about, all of a sudden Dad says, yeah, that Lester, he's the hardest worker and the best truck driver in the family. And I went, and Mom goes, no.
When
Do you
did you
remember
get Dad
that?
drunk?
I was so
When did
mad.
you get Dad drunk?
Huh?
When did you get Dad drunk?
When did you
Either
get
either
that
of them,
drunk?
you could
He
stop
thought
either
you-
of those drivers.
He thought you were wonderful and you could drive better than anybody, Les.
I didn't know
Oh,
you could even drive
wow.
truck then.
Not you,
What
Ron.
happened? Gee, what happened?
I think you're still probably a good driver.
We hope so, with the pulling gasoline around.
Let's hope he's still a good
Yeah,
driver.
you know what? Gasoline's not dangerous unless it blows up.
Yeah.
So I try not to let that happen.
Hasn't happened yet, right?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Unless, what, you were in the truck rodeo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't you win a prize or something?
Yeah. I won a truck rodeo a couple of times.
Well,
But,
that's why Dad thought you were so good.
well, I didn't win any 8-ball truck rodeos.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
won.
the whole outfit down there was a rodeo.
I
All the
remember
cowboys we had working for us.
Yeah.
Cowboy doesn't have a very positive connotation when you're talking about some of those guys like Fernandez and Chapman. Oh man.
I remember cruising the drag with Lester when he was a little kid, when he was cute.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great pickup for getting girls talking to me.
Yeah, I got a picture of myself somewhere where I'm 5 years old, so there's actual photo evidence of me being attractive at one point.
Yeah, it's the only time I'd take you in my car.
Yeah, Dave would take me on the back of his motorcycle.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was always afraid I was going to lose toes on that thing.
Well,
So Mom used to talk about, she had that little tin measuring cup and
hole in it.
what? The
With
one
the
with the
hole?
hole in it. That's what I was going to talk, because I have it. And I tell that story to my kids all the time because I want someone to remember it when I die and someone takes it. I want them to just throw it out at so that you guys all remember it. Well, we're recording this for posterity's sake. Oh, what's it now? So no one forgets it. And someone wants to keep that tin measuring cup. So Ron and David would come in and say, Grandma, let's go for a ride, talking to Grandma Rain. And she always liked to take a cup of chopped ice. So Mom would put ice in this little measuring cup and use the ice pick, chop it up into small bits so she could munch on the ice when she'd go on a ride with either Ron or David. One time she chopped too hard and the ice pick went right through the cup. And the cool thing about it is, it went through from the inside, right? So you'd have a ragged edge on the outside. But Mom continued to use it to measure flour and she'd just put her finger over that hole to hold it in.
Right.
And now the ragged edge is completely gone. It's just as smooth as can be. The hole's still there, but there's no rough edge anymore.
Yeah.
It kept being used for so many years. So
Well,
I have that on a little display shadow box with some other old stuff like that.
And I have her kitty. Does any of you remember the kitty?
Which kitty?
I do. The little ceramic kitty, and we'd have she'd have change or $1 in there or something, just in case someone needed money or needed a candy bar or needed milk or needed something. You'd go raid the kitty, but you're
Oh,
supposed to go put
yeah.
money
I
back
raided the
in.
elephant.
Huh?
I raided the elephant, not the kitty.
Who remembers it?
I had the elephant.
Oh,
I remember that kitty. I have her Siamese cat.
no,
kitty,
this
which
is just
was a
a
vase.
ceramic kitty, and would put, and I did the same thing at my house. I'd put change and dollars in it. I remember my daughter-in-law used to come over and take the $2 out because she needed it for something or other, but she'd always come back and put it back in the kitty, so she'd have money the next time she needed it. She's the only one I knew that would put it back.
Wow.
And hey, you guys, I felt really sorry for David and Ron and Maxine. I felt really bad for you guys when I was little because Mama loved me best. Mama told me she loved me so much. She loved me the very best of everything. And I always thought, oh, poor Maxine, poor
That's
Ron,
sweet.
poor David. She loves me best. And
That's
I think later on in years, I realized she told us all that. Or something. Did she? Maybe
I
she
remember
did.
I had all these earaches and I had to go have radiation treatment on my ears. Mom would always take me, and we went, I guess it was in Berkeley or Oakland. And after that, we'd always go to Berkeley Farms and have a banana split. Mama treated me real nice.
But you weren't special like me.
No, I think
I
not.
think I was special.
That's why I was always on the
Didn't
truck.
she tell you guys you were special?
Well, I know Mom always,
I guess she loved me best of all.
Mom used to tell me that she was so mad when she found out she was pregnant with me because
Oh yeah, that's true.
yeah, because Grandma had just moved in to live with them and they'd just found out that Susie had cancer. Though actually, I put the numbers together and they must have found out that Susie had had cancer for about a year before she got pregnant with me. Anyway, so yeah, but she'd always say, I was so mad. I did not want to be pregnant again. And then she'd always follow it up with, but that's why you're so special.
Yeah, you're special too.
You're especially unwanted.
Especially unwanted. Yes.
No,
Yeah.
those were terrible times.
Coming back to Susie, now that, we're talking about that. So I don't know if you guys remember her stocking who was it who knitted that for her when she was in the hospital? Do you know her
No.
Christmas stocking?
No.
Yeah, I remember the stocking. I don't remember who it was that knitted it, but I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody from the ward apparently did it, and Mom posted it on a piece of styrofoam, and she, put some little toys in it, and then she hung on there the little bell that she had in the hospital because she couldn't talk. And so when she needed a nurse, she'd ring the bell, and she said, and all the nurses came running to her room whenever they'd hear that bell. So, yeah.
Yeah. David, you remember the MG that we got?
Yeah,
Carl was in repo for
yeah.
cars, and so it was an MG, wasn't it?
No, you guys got an
Austin.
XKE Jaguar.
No, it wasn't a Jaguar. It was Austin.
Yeah.
Healey. Austin Healey. Yeah, we had a red Austin Healey, and David and I bought it for really cheap. And but then I went on a mission and David had it.
It was
You can't refuse me. This is a red Austin Healey, wasn't it?
no, it was,
No?
it was something
Oh,
else.
MG.
And
It may have been a different time, but I do remember you guys bought a red Jaguar XKE.
and
That was you bought it for like $300. That was a cool
Yeah.
car.
Was that a Jaguar?
Yeah.
No,
David, tell him.
Well, David, when you think of it, chip in, because I was thinking it was an Austin Healey.
no.
Austin
Well,
Martin.
that was Dave's car, wasn't it? Wasn't that Dave's car in Austin Healey? Was that one of your cars when you were young, Dave?
Well, he got it when I went on the mission.
I had an Austin Healey, the 64 before I went on my mission, and I had taken I took it all apart and put it away, and it would, I could race the newer Austin Hades with 6 cylinders and beat them,
Whoa.
eat them.
But that's the one that we got from Carl, isn't it?
No, no,
Oh, this is a
no,
different.
this one was,
Oh, you're talking about your Toyota Z
no,
that you rebuilt.
no.
No.
Gee, our memory is fun.
Yes.
We could just remember. Hey, Maxine, you got any other memories?
Well, my memories is of Mama baking cakes,
Oh, yeah.
all cakes, always the best. I remember a lot of people visiting our home all the time. For some reason, people were drawn to our home and loved to come. And I just always, it kind of made me itch because I had to wash all the darn dishes. But that was always a chore with I think it was David had to dry the dishes.
He never would be able to wash them again because Mama caught him washing the dishes with cold water and
Yes,
and
Comet.
yeah, and Comet.
Yes.
He
I
never
heard that
he
one.
was the smartest one. He never had to wash dishes again.
Yeah, I remember washing a lot of dishes and drying a lot of dishes especially up on Scenic Avenue when we lived there.
Well, that's where.
Yeah.
Why
That's
didn't you
where
just put them in the dishwasher?
Oh, what?
Or the dishwasher.
What's that?
Oh,
Dishwashers for kids.
Speaking about cakes and dishes, wasn't there a story about like a cake tray or some kind of goodie tray? I
So
remember-
are you talking about Mom's cake dish with the tin cover?
yeah, there was something
ev-
with the cover and it got replaced once
With
because
the
everybody
glass.
liked to lift it up and look.
Yes. I think it was, yeah, anyone who came over would always raise that tin cover to see if there was cake there.
That's right.
Then it got replaced with a beautiful crystal one.
Yeah,
And
no,
people were
wasn't that
so
pretty?
mad because
Yeah.
now you could see if there was cake there without lifting the cover. And I've told that story so many times
Yeah.
that for
That's-
Christmas last year, Amanda and Athena went online and found me an old-fashioned cake plate with a tin cover. It isn't tin, but it's not a see-through cover to keep in the kitchen, or so that I
That
can
was
have stuff there
fun.
and they can lift it up, because it sounded like such a fun story. Anyway, yeah,
That was pretty cool.
it was. Apparently it took a lot to find it. And it was not inexpensive, apparently.
Well, I remember that last time a bunch of us got together and did the same thing as we're doing now. And we sure remembered a whole lot better than we are now.
Talk faster.
Well, I remember going with Dad. I was 12, 13 years old, and I went with him to Lump, called roofing out to San Jose when they were building all those houses out there when it was just growing. And it was my first summer lumping, and this first time with Dad. I felt so bad because he just had to work so hard because that stuff was just so, I was such a scrawny kid at that point. But
Tell him what lump means.
helping unload trucks.
Lumping.
Yeah, lumping.
Well, explain that.
Well, we were on flatbeds and we'd drive into these areas where they were building houses, and they built these temporary docks. We'd pull up next to them and we'd have to take the roofing off the trailers and put them on the dock there.
And that's why they called it lumpers.
Pull it out, and the other one would stack it. Huh?
It sounds stupid now to say you were a lumper,
Well,
but we used to say that all the time.
Uh-huh.
I
No,
remember
you didn't have
making-
forklifts, I'm
I paid
guessing.
$7 a load.
I know. It's just,
I'd get paid and I'd go down to this one place in Point Richmond and have a couple of chocolate malts just because I could do it.
hey, I tell you what, when I was in elementary school, I was so skinny. Mama used to give me money to go get a milkshake down at that little place. And that little place is still there with different owners. Down from Washington School. And she'd have me go down and have a milkshake every day so I could gain weight. Only problem is I always had my girlfriends with me and it didn't get very much of that milkshake.
Oh dear.
But that place is still there under new management, of course.
Yeah, I remember that little store.
People,
Remember the birds that would dive bomb on us when we walked to school there?
I don't remember that.
The crows would be up in the trees and they'd come down and swoop at us all the time.
It's probably some of your friends up there.
What?
I sure miss you guys. I wish we were all together more.
Yeah.
I guess it won't be too much longer before, oh, that doesn't sound right. No, I wish we lived closer. It
Yeah.
seems far apart now.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm really hoping we can put together this family reunion for maybe next spring.
Yes.
If not spring, then fall. I know fall is better for some
Summer.
people.
What happened to summer?
So what? Summer? You
Summer.
know, spring, summer, something like that.
I like it, huh?
Well, the problem is you got grandkids and that are in sports and stuff, and
It'd be too far along to go camping that time.
Well, you're not gonna go camping, no.
No, we'll find some place where there are hotel accommodations as well as campgrounds, and I plan to take a trip out a little later on this year to go and scout out some places.
So.
Come on, Maxine, you and I could share a tent.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Just so you know, I consider Roughing It a hotel without HBO.
Oh.
That's roughing it.
Linda and I share joint interest.
Hey, they
Empty.
tell me the Richmond plunge is open.
Yes.
oh, is it still?
I thought it was cracked. I didn't think it would hold water anymore.
Oh, yeah, it's still there. It's called the Emporium or something.
Natatorium.
What is it?
Natatorium. That's
Maybe so. Yeah. It's still there.
Swimming hole. Natatorium, swimming hole.
yeah.
That was a big one.
Mm.
Oh,
Remember putting our pennies on the train tracks and Point Richmond there?
Oh yeah.
no.
Normally.
Really?
I'd kill my kid to do that. I would kill my kid. Listen, I would be very upset if my children did
I'm
that.
gonna say it. Thought that they did that out
Because
in
it's
the
so
country.
dangerous. And I love to tell the story about David when we always hiked up that hill to Dead Man's Path and everything. And then remember the time David fell in the hole, cracked his head open, and
Yeah.
Ron had to get him out while we all tried to pull David out. And then you had to take him home. His head was bleeding. You remember, David?
Yeah, I
Yeah, you
do.
remember that hole, huh? They had pipes in it or something.
That's why we get together with you guys, for the cheerful stories.
That was funny. Now it's funny, kind of. David fall in the hole. David fall in the hole. It was funny.
Remember when the grass was green in the springtime and we'd get cardboard
yes.
boxes and go sliding down the side of the hill?
Yes.
That
And
was
if you were lucky, you stopped halfway. Otherwise,
yeah. Otherwise, you go over the edge there.
go to the sidewalk and hurt yourself bad.
Just
That
get
was fun.
up a little bit.
That's funny.
Yeah, we had a good time on Scenic Avenue,
Yeah,
44 Scenic Avenue.
that's right.
Have you driven up
2132
there lately?
Blackwood Drive, Walnut Creek, California, 94416.
9456 94596.
94596. Yes.
9-6.
Yeah.
94596. Yep.
She's a zip code.
That was our zip code.
Okay, that was wonderful. You remembered that.
9390646. I don't
Yeah,
remember
you know
the
what,
area code.
You know, my friend James Anglis, his phone number, his family's phone number was 939-4606.
Oh, no, really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
one time he was at band practice at high school and called the house at 11:30 for a ride home.
Did somebody
Fixed
go
up the
get
phone
him?
number.
Like one number.
Oh,
James Anglis.
I got my
Yeah.
phone number easy at the telephone company when I moved about 40 years ago. And they asked what I wanted it to be. And I said, it has to be a real easy number because my children are retarded. It had the different. Yeah, it is true. Story. And so I got 229-1515.
I remember that story.
They had to get it. They had to have it easy so they could memorize it.
Wow.
The things we do.
The things
thing we
you
do for
do,
love,
and
yeah.
I think it's pretty unique.
Oh, well.
5600 Doremus.
Yeah.
That's where,
What was it?
huh?
What was it? Goodrick.
Goodrick. Yes. Susan's reminded me. Goodrick.
What was
What was it? I can't remember the address on Goodrick.
Goodrick.
2717.
Yeah.
Mhm.
17.
For you.
We'll
Good
find
memory
it ahead
banks.
in the meantime.
In fact, I still got an 8-ball pin around here somewhere.
Oh, I've got one. I've got a couple of them actually.
Ah, that's where they all went.
Yeah. I have a hat. I have hats and shirts.
Milford
and
office supplies.
I have a hat and a shirt. 2 hats, different kinds. Shirts and a windbreaker. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, looky there.
Ah, look at that.
Right. That's
Okay.
right.
I have to say something or it won't show up in the recording.
What is that?
Oh,
What is that?
This is
that's
actually
the logo.
this is
Yeah.
actually a sticker that I made.
Well, you know how that came about, don't you?
Yep.
He worked for Stuart Drage, and it was an orange truck with a circle on it and Stuart Drage. So they got when they bought out their trucks, Sid and Dad, they were sitting there. I remember sitting there at the table with them, and they were discussing what shall we do, call our trucking company. And they had that big old ball still on the side of their trucks. They couldn't get it off. And one of them suggested, well, we're behind the 8-ball. So why don't we call it 8-ball trucking? And that's stuck. That's why we got a round 8-ball.
So I thought the story went that Dad suggested it, and was it Uncle Sid who
Yeah.
said nope, he didn't like it, but Dad went down to register the company and he had to have a name, so he wrote that down. Does that sound right?
I don't know. It could have been that way, but I remember them talking about it, whether it was on it or not. But it stuck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm trucking.
Find the
Right.
8-ball.
I bought a 8-ball hat at a garage sale here in Martinez.
Really?
Yeah, she had a whole bunch of hats. Her husband collected them. And
Oh.
and Harry and I were looking, I said, oh, there's an 8-ball hat. But she made me pay for it, even though my father owned that company. Maybe that's why I had to pay for
Yeah,
it. I
pay
should've-
extra.
It was funny.
Well, I appreciate you, Caleb, for putting this thing together. And I'm getting to that point where I'm gonna have
Hi,
to.
Ezra.
Yeah, the picture.
My favorite 8-ball clothing story is telling my dad we saw some homeless guy in an 8-ball shirt walking down the street. He's like, well, it was probably one of my drivers.
Oh. So we pay him so well.
Terrible.
Oh.
Well, that's right.
Oh, David.
So much for this, guys. I you all so much.
I love you too, Max.
We love you too. I love all of you. But Mama loved me best. Sorry.
Well,
Who are you people again? Who are you
She's-
people again?
Huh?
she just let on.
Well, Daddy loved me best because he would always take me on
Oh,
the truck.
okay.
He was just
Yeah,
hoping he
I
could
know
find
he
a
did
place
it.
to drop you off.
I know he loved you best. He wouldn't look, he.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say.
Daddy would stop at truck stops and I'd get a quarter piece of cherry pie. Truck stops. So I know he loved me best.
If he made you eat truck stop cherry pie, I don't think that was love.
Well, back then it
I
was.
want to reevaluate that somewhat.
That's when they made real homemade pies. They were-
Oh, okay.
Oh. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you all. Love you.
Love
I
you
thought-
too. Caleb,
Just about
what's,
my bedtime.
yeah, what are you going to do with this now? What's your plan?
I was going to
Extortion, probably.
I was going to post this online. I'll put it up like on a site like YouTube. And you know, I've got some family stories. The point is, I'm going to I'll put the recording in a place where everybody in our family will be able to watch it, and we can share a link around for everybody to see it.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. Can this be posted to Family Search?
I don't know. I haven't tried, but I can look into that.
That might be a place to put it too, so.
And be careful about, I hope you're gonna, what is
Edit
that?
it.
Huh?
Edit.
Edit it,
Edit
yes.
what?
Now you want, I don't know.
None of these stories are sooner than 50 years old. I don't think we need to worry about.
Okay, well,
Just remind me again, where were the bodies hidden? I mean,
with
Yeah.
what? Yeah,
In the orchard. No.
yeah, in the orchard.
At
Cool.
Ball,
Yeah, really.
under that kiln.
All
Well, like I
right.
said, it's just about my bedtime. I have to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning. So
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Well, that sucks.
I'm glad you could join us.
yeah. We got done with James's birthday. Took him over to a barbecue place in Martinez. Lousy barbecue place in Martinez.
Oh. Is he your least favorite son? Is that why you went to?
No, I would never say that to his face.
No, you wouldn't say that because he has your baby, your grandbaby.
No, that's not James. Thomas has the
Oh, I
baby.
was thinking, I thought you said Thomas.
No.
Good save, Linda. Good save. All right, guys.
Okay, well, it's time for everybody to go
We'll
to
have to do this again. Nothing says we have to wait to, for Caleb to coordinate this, to get together and talk sometime. We don't have to get together just to share old stories. If you guys
Yeah, but
wanted to get together once in a while in a Zoom kind of thing just to visit, we could do that.
Hey, we could tell each other our aches and pains and everything too. Someone that'll listen, maybe.
Right.
All right, guys.
All right. Thanks. Good night.
Good
Good night, all.
everybody.
you are
Good to see
welcome.
you all.
Thank
Hey,
you all
Ken-
for participating.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Caleb.
Thanks.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
thanks,
David.
Caleb, for hosting.
You're welcome.